straight ahead on Law and Crime Daily. A Week 5 review of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard.
This was a multi-day assault that took place over 3 horrible days.
Ms. Heard,
it's the worst thing ever happened to me.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question.
Cross-examination gets tense when Amber Heard takes a stand. And Amber Heard's sister corroborates her story.
He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my sister." She smacks him.
Plus,
do you know whether Mr. Depp is being considered for a role in Pirates 6?
I don't know one way or the other.
A Disney executive addresses Depp's future with the Pirates franchise and whether Heard's op-ed affected his role. And later,
I looked through tweets that were negative towards Ms. Heard, and I found that a supermajority of them were using one of 4 different hashtags.
Heard's team calls their own expert to testify about the ex-spouse's reputation online. Law and Crime Daily covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everyone to Law and Crime Daily. I'm your host, Brian Buckmeyer. Week 5 of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial has wrapped up as closing arguments loom just days ahead. After a week-long break from the case, court reconvened with Heard on the stand. Her testimony comes as a part of a multi-million-dollar defamation suit stemming from her 2018 Washington Post op-ed about domestic violence. While Depp was never mentioned in the article, he argues readers know he was publicly linked to Heard. Depp filed a $50 million lawsuit claiming damages, but Heard shot back with a $100 million suit, doubling down on her domestic violence claims. An intense back and forth continued as Heard faced cross-examination by Depp's attorney, Camille Vasquez, calling into question Heard's sequence of events following the Australia fight, and whether she could face perjury charges.
Is that your signature?
Yes, it is.
And your signature appears right under the statement, quote, "I declare, under penalty of perjury, under the laws of the state of Virginia, that the foregoing is true and correct."
That is correct.
You write, testify under oath. While he was smashing the phone, Johnny severely injured his finger, cutting off the top of it, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So you testified in this courtroom that after Mr. Depp smashed the phone, he held you down on the countertop by the neck. Do you remember that?
I'm not quite sure of the exact sequence of things, but yes, both of those things happened.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the sequence. And this is when Mr. Depp supposedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
On the countertop, he assaulted me.
So Mr. Depp was able to get you on the counter, right?
He held me down by my neck.
And hold you down by your neck.
That is correct.
And he grabbed a bottle, according to you, while holding you down by the neck, correct?
I'm sorry, can you clarify what you're asking me?
While Mr. Depp is holding you by the neck against the countertop, he grabs a bottle. That's your testimony.
No, those 2 things didn't happen at the exact same time, no.
So he's holding the bottle, is that your testimony? While
was holding
you down by the neck?
Sorry, what was your question?
Your testimony is, Ms. Heard, that either he has the bottle before or after he's holding you by the neck on the counter. Is that your testimony?
He held me by the neck on the counter.
Where's the bottle that he assaulted
At what
with?
point?
While holding you down by your neck.
When he was assaulting me with the bottle, it was in his hand.
All right, joining us today is the star of the lunch hour, the infamous and former federal prosecutor Gene Rossi, just minutes away from the courthouse, and co-host Terry Austin to discuss this case. Gene, how does a civil case turn into a criminal perjury trial, and do you see that happening here in this case?
Okay, first, did you say infamous Gene Rossi or famous Gene Rossi?
Anyway, a little bit of A, a little bit of B?
A little bit of A. First off, if you have perjury, alleged perjury, I'm not there yet on the perjury, but if you have perjury in a civil case, this goes back to President Bill Clinton, it is highly, highly, highly unusual for a prosecutor to pick up that gauntlet and file criminal charges. And I am very dear friends with the head prosecutor in Fairfax County, and I trained him maybe way back in the day. He's a great, great attorney. There's no way he would ever consider presenting to a grand jury alleged perjury charges against Amber Heard. No way. It's never going to happen. Bill Clinton's investigation, that was an extreme rarity.
Yeah, I know we were discussing it before, and you're a bit of the Socrates to this prosecutor's Plato. So we're getting it straight from the wisdom from your mouth. Thank you for that, Terry. What is perjury in Virginia, though, and what could Heard face if it does actually happen?
Well, perjury is the act of lying under oath. So if she lied in a prior deposition or if she lied on the stand here, that would be perjury. And in Virginia, it is a crime. It's punishable up to 10 years, actually, and a fine of $2,500. It's a class 5 felony. But, you know, as Jean was saying, it is very difficult to bring perjury charges because oftentimes witnesses says, as I recall, or if I remember correctly, so you really don't have the grounds to bring the act. It's hard to prove.
Yeah, so it's the exact words that she used, and I think she's well coached by her attorney, even though the attorney doesn't seem to know what hearsay is. But on this, the perjury aspect, I think she's in the clear. Thank you for the insight, both of you. Still ahead on Law and Crime Daily, our comprehensive coverage of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial continues. Ahead, Amber Heard's sister takes the stand. Does her story line up with past testimony? Welcome back. As part of Week 5's testimony, jurors heard from Whitney Enriquez, Amber Heard's younger sister. Enriquez backed up Amber Heard's testimony, saying Johnny Depp hit her in his Los Angeles penthouse.
He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back, kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my sister." She smacks him, lands one. And then he grabs, at that point, that's when Travis runs up the stairs after Amber landed one. But by that time, Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other as I was standing there. Travis pulls them apart. I get Amber into mine. I close the doors behind me and lock them. I then hear Johnny's voice shouting.
Never mind, withdraw here, sorry.
I hear Johnny's voice shouting, I hate you. I hate you both. You whores. And I hear crashing. I hear crashing and banging and smashing, and he starts screaming like an animal. And I then just moved Amber into the next room, and I just kept her there all night. The next day, I go, and I see her closet has been completely destroyed.
While Enriquez's testimony backs up Heard's, it differs from previous testimony of witness Travis McGivern, Johnny Depp's security guard, who says Depp did not hit Heard's sister. Depp himself testified similarly, saying Heard threw the punch.
She was coming out, trying to get to me, trying to hit me, trying to do anything she could, and then Whitney, her sister, was there, who stepped in the way. And interesting thing that was interesting now is that Whitney stepped in front of Amber and was facing Amber to stop Amber, and when she was in between us, Amber snuck in she got the roundhouse in and just nailed me on the cheekbone.
Terry, as I see it, I think we have some similar stories, but 3 different stories. McGivern and Depp seem to be very much the same, and then Heard and her sister seems to be slightly different. So what is the jury to do with these stories?
Well, I think they're going to have to parse out, obviously, who is more credible, who's telling the truth. This was the incident in the penthouse not long before the TRO. And basically, Depp is saying that he didn't hit anybody, but Amber hit him. And McGivern is definitely corroborating Depp's story. Then you have Heard and her sister, and they're saying that Depp actually hit Whitney and that Heard was protecting her sister. And of course, that's why she hit Johnny Depp. But, you know, you have to look at how they're telling these stories. You have to look at their credibility, their body language. And I think the jury is going to parse it out. And at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I'm believing Depp right now just based on the testimony.
Yeah, and Gene, that's kind of my question to you. How much value do you think the jury will give Enriquez's testimony? Maybe I'm projecting here, but I've got a baby sister. Perjury, definitely something I would do for her. So isn't the jury going to think about the same thing for this situation?
I'm going to be a contrarian. I love Terry, but I'm going to take the other position here. I think they got into a fight. They were both hitting each other. And I agree with Terry. The sister has an incredible motive to lie, to protect her blood. But if you look at Depp's testimony, and I wonder if the jurors were taking good notes, he wasn't very detailed. The sister was pretty darn detailed, and she was a little expressive, and it didn't appear to me, even though she has a motive to protect her sister, of course, it didn't appear to me that she was just making it all up. I think there was an altercation. I think, frankly, they both threw punches at each other. And it was a fracas that got out of hand. But I love Terry, but I have to be a contrarian here.
It begs the question, who's the victim if both are throwing fists? Because that's at the heart of the issue here. But we'll figure that out as we continue. Coming up on Law and Crime Daily, a closer look at some of Amber Heard's key witnesses. Just ahead, hear testimony from a top Disney executive. Were there plans to keep Johnny Depp in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise? Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. At the center of the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard trial are accusations of defamation and the impact Heard and Depp's words had on the other's career. On Thursday, video testimony from a Walt Disney executive was played for the jury. She says Heard's Washington Post op-ed did not affect Depp's role in the Pirates franchise. Attorneys asked her about Depp's future with Disney.
Did you have any discussions with anyone at Disney about any future Pirates of the Caribbean role? A lesser or greater role, a different role, or a different production?
No.
Did you have any discussions with anyone at Disney about the impact of the op-ed by Ms. Heard on the relationship between Disney and Mr. Depp, including considering Mr. Depp for any work with Disney, any future Pirates of the Caribbean role, a lesser or greater role, a different role, or a different production?
No.
Do you know whether Mr. Depp is being considered for a role in Pirates 6?
I don't know one way or the other. That decision doesn't fall within my job responsibility. It's above my head.
Is Disney aware that Mr. Depp has testified under oath that he would not take another Pirates of the Caribbean franchise role for $300 million and a million alpacas?
No.
Would Disney entertain paying Mr. Depp more than $300 million and provide him with more than a million alpacas to be able to obtain his services for any future Pirates of the Caribbean role?
No.
Terry, Tina Newman, as we saw there, was the corporate witness for Disney. And we even heard that some of the questions were, for lack of a better phrase, above her pay grade. So do you think she was qualified and prepared to represent the company?
Absolutely not. She was not qualified. She is a production executive, but in my opinion, she was not senior enough, and she certainly was not knowledgeable enough. In civil litigation, when you have a corporation and you call on that corporation to testify, whether it's a notice or whether it's a subpoena, the representative is supposed to know all of the areas that are listed in that document. She did not know the areas. She did not understand. In fact, I've been a corporate representative. You're supposed to be prepped on any area that you could be asked about. And saying that it's above her pay grade, I think, is just not responding properly to the document requesting her appearance.
Right, so, I mean, Gene, it's the literally multi-million-dollar question. Did Newman's testimony then push the needle one way or another based on her knowledge or lack thereof of how Disney was working with Johnny Depp?
Well, I'm not going to be a contrarian on this issue. Terry is absolutely right. This witness, I think, actually helps Johnny Depp and hurts Amber Heard because they called the junior varsity, actually the freshman team. They didn't call anybody on the varsity team. And when she made that comment about the pay grade, that said it all. And if they don't stress that in closing on the damages issue, then they are committing malpractice. This witness did not help Amber Heard, in my opinion.
Yeah. If Camille Vasquez is doing the closing arguments, I doubt she's going to miss it. I know a lot of people love her through her cross-examination, but the Depp team seems to be on their P's and Q's. I think they're not going to miss that point, and I agree with you, Gene and Terry. It'll be a strong argument to make. But to keep up with the gavel-to-gavel coverage of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial, make sure to follow our newest podcast, Law and Crime Sidebar. Listen in as some of Law and Crime's top hosts recap the highs and lows of the trial so far, straight from the Fairfax County Courthouse in Virginia. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or online at lawandcrime.com. When we come back, Depp's pointing the finger at Heard, and Heard is pointing the finger back at Depp. Hear a conflicting testimony from two experts on the ex-spouse's reputation online. Welcome back. Our comprehensive coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial continues as a social media expert takes the stand, tying damage to Heard's reputation to comments made by one of Depp's lawyers that her accusations of abuse were a hoax.
I looked through tweets that were negative towards Ms. Heard, and I found that a supermajority of them were using one of 4 different hashtags.
And so overall, what did your analysis find regarding negative hashtags about Ms. Heard from April 2020 until the end of January 2021?
Well, there were over 1,243,000 and change uses of those hashtags during that time frame you just mentioned. And some of these hashtags are pretty rude, and it would really surprise me that anyone would think that they wouldn't be.
You reviewed a number of hashtags that you deemed were negative towards Ms. Heard. That's right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the 4 you picked, at least the negative ones, justice for Johnny Depp, that's from one of them, right?
That's right.
Amber Heard is an abuser, that's one of them.
That is one of them.
We just don't like you, Amber. That's one of them?
That is one of them.
And the last one was Amber Turd, right?
That is another one.
Justice for Johnny Depp is not negative towards Miss Heard, is it?
No, but the tweets that use that hashtag are.
You may remember 3 weeks ago, an analytics expert testified for Depp's team, saying Depp's reputation took a negative turn after her 2016 abuse allegations, and again after the 2018 op-ed.
I wanted to analyze the Q scores during this snapshot of time. I wanted to understand what they were before, during, and after the op-ed. And what this tells me is his positive Q score went from a 35 to a 29, and then his negative went from an 11 to a 15. So what the Q scores is telling me is the public perception of Mr. Depp has been damaged. You know, they like him less and they dislike him more. My opinions are that, you know, Mr. Depp was not portrayed in a negative connotation prior to the 2016 allegations of abuse. And then Mr. Depp's image, he was portrayed in a negative connotation after the 2016 allegations of abuse, and then more so after the 2018 Washington Post op-ed. And then the Q scores represent that, you know, the public thinks he's damaged.
Gene, you've been following this case closely. You've even reported from outside the courtroom. I understand you're just a stone throws away from the court. But with all of the evidence presented so far, do you think Depp lost opportunities because of the op-ed or something else?
Oh, I think it was probably 25% was attributed to the op-ed. The other 75% was his reputation from way back in 2009. And there was that one witness for the Heard team that said his reputation was going downhill. It was a slippery slope that was becoming a luge because he was late, he appeared to be intoxicated, he was difficult to handle, His crew started to dislike him. This is way before the op-ed article. So the op-ed hurt him, but I think 75% was things that happened before the op-ed. And if that's the case, if Gene Rossi's right, that's not good on his damages claim.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Terry, Ron Chanel's testimony was somewhat technical. Do you think Depp's team made any progress with the cross-examination?
I do think they made some progress. Look, if the jury goes away with just a couple of points, I think that the cross-examination will have been effective. We know that the hoax comments by Waldman, who is Depp's attorney, those were all in August of 2020. And I think Depp's team was able to establish that those 4 hashtags, Justice for Depp, Heard is an abuser, We just don't like you, Amber, and Amber Turd, those hashtags started before the comments. And the other issue is this was only a mathematical correlation. The expert could not say that it was related to any article.
All right, that's true. Well, one hashtag you should be following is Law and Crime, and Law and Crime Daily, of course. But thank you both, and thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.